Hey everybody, welcome back to another knife review. Today we're taking a look at the Civivi Elementum utility button lock. And before I get into the actual knife, I'm going to show the packaging. Comes with a little sleeve, 10-year anniversary thing, normal Civivi box. There you can see the name, Utility Elementum. And it comes with a nice pouch, microfiber cleaning cloth, which is kind of useless because the blades are replaceable, and usually you're using the microfiber to kind of wipe your blade off, keep it clean and keep it from rusting. It comes with blades. These are just standard shaped blades, but they are made by Civivi, and I think they are I think they're 16 CR or 6 CR something. Not amazing steel, but it's probably better than regular razor blades, and they came super sharp. There's also an extra screw in there for your little razor blade retention screw. And onto the knife itself. There we go. Give you a couple looks at it. Flips great. Locks up great. Functions perfectly. Fits in the hand good. Onto some of these specs. Overall length of 6 inches. Blade length 2.5 inch. Cutting edge 2.375. Blade width 0.875. And blade thickness, which is just this, the carriage kind of, that's 0.12. And it's stainless steel. Blade HQ is calling this a reverse tanto, which is just a razor blade, but depending on what razor blade you put in it, that'll affect that, because it can take other types like the carpet cutting hook ones or similar footprint but different shaped ones. As long as they fit into the holder, then they'll work. And this has just a normal plain edge razor blade on it, but handle length 3.625, handle width 0.875, handle thickness 0.47, and this is an aluminum handle. This one's green, but there's also blue, black, I think gray, and tip up left hand and right hand carry for the pocket clip. And I believe all these screws, they look like they're T8, which is very nice. I hate T6 screws because they're just so easy to strip out. They should just not use them on knives, but I believe the little screws on the pocket clip are probably T6, which is better. I'm fine with that as long as it doesn't need to be taken out for disassembly, which it looks like it does. But I'm more forgiving for pocket clip screws because they're a little smaller, but main body screws, I love them to be T8. Flipper, bearings, button lock, kind of the normal style Civivi button lock. It's very smooth. Handle's very smooth, very polished, kind of worry stone textured. All the edges are super rounded. It kind of looks like the Elementum, which is, I think, probably their best selling model, just because they have 30 different versions of it. So I had never gotten one, and I'd wanted a couple versions, but when I saw this one, I thought, okay, well, that'll definitely be my first Elementum. Jumping back here, it also has thumb studs for the opener, and they're textured. Okay. I'm not left-handed, so very easy to flip, though, if you're using the correct hand. Lanyard hole right there. Doesn't really take away from the design or ruin anything, even though I won't be using it. And like I said, I think the blade steel on the replacement razors, I think it's 6 CR something, and they're pretty good. They're really, they come really sharp. Now, I don't know how long the CR6 or 6 CR will stay sharp, but it stayed pretty sharp for me. I got my dad one of these also, and he went through all three of his pretty quick, I think. And now he's on to just regular Stanley razor blades, which that's fine. I don't know if they look as good, but they function great. So he just beats the hell out of it. And then when he needs it replaced, he just pops the screw out, T8 screw, and pulls it out. So the pros about this knife, I think it's way cooler than a regular razor blade or like carpenter knife. Definitely better than the cheap Husky ones you'd find at like the hardware store. That's the button lock folding one. That's like it's like they tried to make it cool, but they really didn't do a great job at it. So it's not actually that functional, or you can't flip it out or anything. It doesn't really scratch the same itch that a pocket knife does. So this one's definitely cool, feels great, and it's fidgety. And I mean, it's still a razor blade. So if you need to cut whatever you need to cut on the job site, damage your blade, pop it out, replace it as many times as you want. I think that's definitely a pro. I think it looks cool. Like I said, the Elementum design, they've done it 1,000 times. So they know people like the design, but I personally I think it feels really good. I like the way it looks. Nice and simple. It's not outlandish or anything, being a kind of a more working utility knife thing. It doesn't need to be some crazy futuristic design. So just a nice feeling design that works. Size-wise, I like the size. With a razor blade, you're only getting, like it says, 2.375 inch cutting length, cutting edge length, and then like a 2.5 inch blade length. So you kind of have to have a small handle. If you have a big handle, then that's a little disproportionate. Like if you're holding down here on a big handle and the razor blade's only 2.375 of cutting length, then it doesn't really match up. So I like that it's small, fits in your pocket well. You can put it in a fifth pocket if you want on your jeans. So definitely easy to carry. It's not going to weigh you down. It's not like a big tape measure or anything, or a big chunky utility knife. It'll just slide right in. It could be a backup knife, I guess, on a construction site if you're using a regular carpenter knife and drop it or something on a ladder. You could pull that out of your pocket and use it. It'll do the same thing. So the downsides, the only thing I've found really so far is, well, one, a downside is if you lose this screw, that's the screw that retains the razor blade. So that's a big downside, that it requires a screw to hold it in. A normal blade on a knife obviously doesn't do that. So, and this isn't just a regular like pivot screw or something. This is a screw you're supposed to be taking out, and you're supposed to take it out all the time to replace it. So if you lose that and then you lose your replacement that comes with it, then you don't have any way to retain the blade. So that's a big downside. The only other downside I've found is when I first recorded this video, or my first try of recording this video, I hit my tripod leg right here. So it hit and knocked the blade out. And I've never had that happen before. I don't know if I've ever hit it while opening something, but just while it was swinging open, it hit that tripod leg and it knocked the blade out. And when I put the blade back in, it was very loose and wouldn't stay in, obviously, because I think it backed out the screw a little bit, or just enough to not really hold it secure. So I had to go and tighten it back down when I put it back in. So that's really the only downside, that it's kind of easy to knock it out, apparently. Other than that, I mean, I've flipped it 1,000 times. I've dropped it. Everything else, nothing's happened. But if you hit the force right on there, it can pop out. I don't know if that's a problem with like the Riot Exo utility knife, where it's a different carriage system that holds the blade in. That could also be a kind of a problem with more of these types of knives, but not exactly sure. So down to my final thoughts on the knife. I like it a lot. I think it's really cool. It's light. The aluminum handle makes it super carryable. I carry it in shorts all the time. If I'm mowing the lawn or something and I just throw some work shorts on real quick, I'll grab this one first. So It's kind of my little work knife, but also it's good for gym shorts or anything because of how small it is. Some lighter short materials and stuff. Like, this is a good carry for that. It's also only $49, so $49 with 3 replacement blades, and then once you run out of those, you just get your Stanley blades or whatever, and I think it's a good price. I've seen like the Riot XO, I think, might be around $100. I know Chavez is coming out with a new one, $180, I think, for it's around the same size, but gonna be a little better quality, I would say. So I'm looking forward to that one, but $49 for this one, really good price. The handle's held up. I don't know how much I've scratched it for it to actually show any wear, but I've definitely used it. And my dad's is a black version, and his doesn't really show too crazy of wear. He's lost his multiple times for weeks at a time. He left it in his tool bag after working on my sister's car for probably 3 weeks to a month, carrying it around in his tool bag, and he forgot about it. And then when he pulled it out, obviously still functions great. So it's still smooth. The handle's not super beat up or anything, so it can take a beating, especially for aluminum. Sometimes I'm worried about aluminum maybe not being strong enough and gouging down into it and showing too much wear, but no, this one's been fine so far. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I think it's a good little knife, especially if you're looking for one of these utility blade holder knives, that there are plenty of different versions, but I think this is one of the best, especially for the price. And I think that's it. Don't forget to check out the other videos on my channel and subscribe to help me grow. And see you next time.